All right, people, review of the week time. So, a lot to get into, a lot to talk about, a lot of recaps, a lot to preview as well, because we're coming into the month of May, and this coming week is Canelo Triple G, Canelo Munguia. Next week, Denzel Bentley is fighting. Then we Fury Usyk. Then we've Taylor Catterall. So we've got a really, really, really busy month of May. It's going to be an absolutely hectic month on here, just in terms of content. We've got a lot to do. Hopefully, we can get to 18k by the end of the month, because by the time this goes out, I should be on 17,600. So normally I get between 4 to 600 subs a month. So fingers crossed we get 18k this month. That'd be nice. And we're 2 off 20. We're nearly there. We've a lot to talk about. We have to go over some of the fights that happened over the course of the weekend first and foremost. Now, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom did one of their next gen shows last night. It was up in Liverpool, I believe. And the original main event was Peter McGrail rematching. Is a guy named Jay O'Quinn or something like that? The guy who knocked him out back before Christmas. And I was kind of looking forward to that rematch in one sense, because I wanted to see if Peter McGrail could make the adjustments, stuff like that. That didn't end up happening. I think the guy pulled out. I know, but obviously he pulled out because Peter McGrail still fought. So there was that. He fought Mark Leach. But I wasn't really... The rest of the card was just... I know it's a next gen show, but I was just like, ugh. So I wasn't overly gone on that show. However, Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya did do a show on DAZN, and I caught up on this morning, and I thought this was a very good show. You had Jose Ramirez against Rhesus Bartolome. Jose Ramirez getting the win. Rhesus Bartolome, I remember him back in the day. When I say back in the day, a couple of years ago, he fought, which one was it? It might have been Mickey Bay, or no, it was the Robert Easter Jr. Oh my God. I wouldn't get my worst enemy to watch that fight. Some of these fights Rhesus Bartolome was in were just not good. Like he's not a fighter who will put butts in seats. He's a Cuban fighter, and yeah, there's talent there, but he has that. He's not like Rigondeaux or anything like that in terms of, he's not as good as Rigondeaux was in his prime, but he has that just boring, just box, and just not nice. So, and plus that was down at lightweight, I believe. This was up at welterweight. So yeah, I wasn't expecting much. When I say welterweight, they were just slightly over 140 pounds. It's officially welterweight, but it's really 140. Ramirez, that might be an opponent that they might look to do Dalton Smith in there with next. Jose Ramirez, former unified champion at 140 pounds, gave Josh Taylor a good fight in the undisputed fight a couple of years ago, so that might be a potential opponent for Dalton Smith. You never know. Now, Oscar Duarte, I think I say that guy's name. I believe he's the guy who fought Ryan Garcia last time out. He went in there against Jojo Diaz. Now, Jojo Diaz has been on a pretty poor run of form. He lost his last fight prior to this, and then he lost 3 back-to-back fights. He lost to Giesta, lost to William Zepeda, lost to Devin Haney. It was a good performance, to be fair, he put in against Devin Haney, in all fairness. But yeah, this was a really damaging loss. Now, he was stopped. On BoxRec, it says it was a KO. It wasn't. Well, it was. He was a TKO, but California rule it as a KO. He was stopped standing. He was taking a lot of shots in there, an awful lot of shots. And one of the big problems with Jojo Diaz, this fight was at 140 pounds. Both guys weighed in just underneath the limit. I mean, Jojo Diaz was 138. Oscar Duarte was 137. Jojo Diaz has no business whatsoever. To be honest with you, he really has no business at lightweight, much less 140 pounds. He was never a big puncher, even when he was down at featherweight. Now he's undersized in this weight. He's fighting much bigger men, and he's got absolutely nothing to keep them off with. And, that's his 6th loss. Jojo Diaz, 31 years old. I think that, for me, I would say stick a fork in him. Because I think that Jojo Diaz, yes, former world champion, beat Tevin Farmer. I think he lost that title on the scales. Jojo Diaz is an ill-disciplined fighter. That's been his biggest problem. He's not a 140 pounder naturally. He's not even a 135 pound fighter. He's really a 130 pound fighter who's just very ill-disciplined. At that weight division, even then he's not a big puncher, but at least it's more of an even playing field. He had nothing to bother Oscar Duarte's with there. Literally nothing all night to bother him with, and he took a lot of body shots and a lot of head shots. Showed a good shit. I mean, say whatever you want to say about Jojo Diaz, he takes a fairly good shot, but he was way too undersized in there. He had nothing to keep this guy off him with, and ultimately he ended up getting stopped in the 9th round. Now we get to the main event, which was Vergil Ortiz versus Thomas Dulorme. Now, I knew this fight was taking place a while ago. I remember him announcing it. Now, Dulorme lost it around to Boots Ennis, lost to Staniones, lost to Jamal James, drew with Jesse Vargas. Dulorme's been around the bend, man. He lost to Yordenis Ugas, was stopped in 6 rounds by Terence Crawford. That was for the vacant WBO 140-pound title back in 2015. So he's been losing a bit lately, it's fair to say. That was at 140 pounds 9 years ago when he lost to Crawford. He's now fighting up at 154 pounds against Ortiz. Now, as many of you will know, I rate Ortiz very highly. I'm glad that he seems to... Those issues he was having making weight at 147, they haven't followed them to 154, apparently. Seems strong, seems good, and it was a brilliant left hook to the body. It looked painful as hell. Dropped Dulorme with that body shot early in the fight. Dulorme did try, to his credit, to beat the count, but he was never going to beat it. He did try and get up. He didn't just sit it out as some people do. He did make an effort, but yeah, he was never beating that count. Vergil Ortiz, I saw that fight as a bit of a formality that Ortiz would win. It was just a case of how good would he look, would he take any damage. And the reason why I say would he take any damage is because he's got plenty. No, he didn't. It was in a round. He didn't take any damage because he doesn't want to take any damage, because come August, he is in a very big, a very entertaining, which will be entertaining, and a fight that is just so mouth-watering, it's unbelievable. He's going to be facing Tim Tszyu. I really cannot wait for that fight. I think it's going to be... You see, this card that they're doing, right, and you read the promoters, you've got Tom Brown with TGB, Oscar De La Hoya, Eddie Hearn, Dimitri Salita. Eddie Hearn apparently is the lead promoter on this, and obviously this is Turki Al Sheikh and the Saudis' first kind of venture really outside Saudi Arabia. It's going into the US market. I'll talk more about the September plans in a wee bit, but starting with a card like this is just... You know, you're looking at this card and it's like, this is insane. It's an insane card. Andy Cruz, who I rate very highly. I love Pitbull. I will love watching Pitbull. Dave Morrell. And, you know, I think that fight on paper seems competitive, but Dave Morrell is a vicious fight. I mean, Dave Morrell, this guy doesn't play. Apparently that's at light heavyweight, actually. I thought it was going to be a super middle, and apparently at light heavyweight. Majimov versus Crawford, which again, I think is a brilliant fight. I've seen some people saying it's not that good. No, I think Majimov versus Crawford's a great fight. And obviously, that's the main event. Obviously, Vergil Ortiz, Tim Tszyu, and Andy Ruiz versus Jarrell Big Farmer Miller. Again, you know, and that fight's fun. The Battle of the Fat Boys. That's going to be a fun fight, because it's going to be interesting to see what Miller has after that loss to Daniel Dubois, where he was stopped and he was hurt. He never went down, but he was hurt come the end of the fight. Andy Ruiz, he'll be out of the ring 23 months, basically 2 years. So what will he have left coming into this fight? We don't know. But for me, the fight that I'm most intrigued and most looking forward to on that card is Ortiz versus Tszyu. I can't wait for that fight. There's apparently no title on the line. I wonder, will they just throw a trick at title, or will they make it a final eliminator for maybe the winner of Crawford versus Majimov? I don't know. But I think that's a fantastic fight. I really do. It's a mouth-watering type of fight. Tim Tszyu coming off the back of a loss to Fundora. It was a clear win. Well, it's a clear win, but Fundora was the rightful winner. Tim Tszyu looked good early on. The damage, I think it was the cut, the clash of heads. I'm not really sure where it was. It was on the tip of the head. It was bleeding profusely. It was crazy. But that did affect Tim Tszyu. There's no question about that. But him against Ortiz, and I've been very high on Ortiz for many years, and I think he's tremendous. I'll have him as a favourite going into that fight. But that is such a good card. For me, that is just... When I look at that card on paper, I'm like, oh, good Lord, I think that's going to be epic. It's going to be absolutely epic. A card that won't be particularly epic. They never really are they? Don King cards these days. They were great back in the 90s to the early 2000s. Don King... I mean, most fighters have come to learn what they're going to get with Don King. I mean, if they haven't, then I would just, you know... A tree is known by its fruits, and Don King is just a horrendous human being. He really is. He has a show lined up in Florida. I wonder what leisure centre this one's going to be in. Adrian Broner will top the bill. Anyway, but Michael Hunter versus Cassius Chaney, that's an interesting one. Michael Hunter, Cassius Chaney on that card. How the mighty have fallen. Well, I was going to say how the mighty have fallen. Michael Hunter was doing well. He was doing good things in his career. I liked what I was seeing from him. I honestly thought that he would have a chance at getting a big win or getting, a named win. I thought something good would happen with Michael Hunter, certainly in 2018, 2019. He was unlucky not to get the nod over Povetkin. It was very biased commentary. If you go back and watch that fight, certainly with the Sky commentary, they were very pro Povetkin in that fight. So only when you really go back and rewatch it, you're like, Michael Hunter won that fight. He absolutely won. He had some rocky moments, but he won that fight. It was a draw, and that really was the kind of that slowed down a lot of the momentum. I wonder if he had beaten Povetkin, what Eddie Hearn would have done or what would have happened. I also wonder if he'd have just taken, I'm sure he was kicking himself, not taking the offer. Well, I won't say offer. It was a purse bid was called for Hrgovic, for him to fight Hrgovic. He didn't go through with that. He decided to sign with Triller. And Triller, obviously, they were paying well, but, that was always going to be unsustainable. I mean, you only had to look at the cards they were putting on. You were like, they are never going to be able to sustain that. And they didn't. And it didn't take them long to not sustain it. I think it was gone 6 months later. So, yeah, real bad move from Michael Hunter. And now he's fighting Cassius Chaney on the Don King show. I mean, that's just depressing even saying that you're fighting on a Don King show. Jesus Christ, in 2024. A show that I'm sure a lot of heavyweights would like to be fighting on is this one. So Anthony Joshua has declared that his next fight is being planned for September the 20th or the 21st in Wembley Stadium. So Friday or a Saturday. I really enjoyed the Friday show that they did in Saudi for the Joshua Ngannou show. It was nice because you spend the day in work looking forward to it. You get off work, you come home and you have the box, and obviously we did a watch along for it. And I liked it because it meant that you had the weekend to kind of assess the whole situation. I think I'd done a stream on the Saturday and you talk about it on Sunday. It was nice having a big fight, because they do Friday fight nights from time to time, but they're normally not, big shows. Frank Warren does a couple of Friday fight nights, and they're almost like what Hearn does with the Next Gen shows. They're kind of like that. He tends to do them in the York Hall, sometimes Telford. And, it's nice. I mean, it's some of those fights turn into really good scraps. And, you watch them, they're fine for what they are. And, maybe there's a bigger show on Saturday. To have a big show on a Friday night, I like it. I do like it. So I'll kind of be hoping they do the 20th, the Friday the 20th. Either or, it's still going to be in Wembley Stadium. I'll probably be hoping to attend that. I'll be well over there by then. And the opponents, either the Wilder versus Zhang winner or the Hrgovic versus Dubois winner, the one who looks the best, Turki Al-Sheikh, I assume he means His Excellence with he, Turki Al-Sheikh said to me, I want you to fight them. So let's just talk about that very briefly. So Anthony Joshua against the winner. Now I've already done a video on it, but we'll talk about it very briefly here. We'll just do a little snippet of it. Anthony Joshua in Wembley Stadium. I didn't think after the Alexander Usyk rematch I'd be saying that anytime soon. I really didn't think I'd be saying it if it wasn't Tyson Fury. Because I kind of felt that Tyson Fury versus Joshua is the only fight, if it's in the UK, that you could probably get in Wembley Stadium for Joshua to have. Now Joshua has had his activity. He's definitely looking a lot better. People obviously tuned in to the Francis Ngannou performance. They saw Joshua dispatch of Ngannou, and it made it all the better. Ngannou is a novice, but the fact that he was able to bring Tyson Fury into a life and death struggle and drop Tyson Fury, it gave people, they almost look at Joshua like he's back. That's why a lot of his fans are looking at it, because they're like, oh, well, Fury struggled and look what Joshua did. And obviously it was a big fight. A lot of people tuned in for it. So now Joshua, if he was kind of there, he's back there in terms of, fan intrigue. What I mean by fan intrigue is fans are always going to be there. It's the same with Fury, same with Canelo, etc. But the general public, the casuals, are now kind of back and like, oh, Joshua looks like he's back. So there's a lot of fan intrigue. Out of those four names, who's the one I think would do the best numbers and certainly would have the best chance of filling up Wembley? And for me, it's Deontay Wilder. Simple as. Do I think Deontay Wilder would get through Zhilei Zhang? I'm not sure. I don't have a great degree of confidence in Wilder getting through Zhilei Zhang. I worry about that fight in as much as it could be a stinker. When you're dealing with two massive punchers, and these are probably arguably the two biggest punchers in the division, it sometimes it can lead to a very cagey affair. Both guys afraid to let their big shots go. Both guys afraid of getting tagged. Wilder has always seemed to struggle a little bit with southpaws, and the fact that Zhang has that big left hand, I would make him the slight. And see, Zhang is not gun shy. He's just got horrendous stamina, abysmal stamina. But Zhang's not gun shy, and he hits. I'll give you an example. Joseph Parker has always shown a good chin. Yes, he's been down. Yes, he's been stopped. But he's been dropped and stopped by big shots. The left hook he got hit with by Dillian Whyte in the 9th round, that was a big shot. The shot he got dropped by Joe Joyce, that was a big, hard left hook. Neither of those shots, both those shots look way harder than the shot that Zhang threw. That just looked like a fairly innocuous boom, there you go. And it put Joseph Parker on the seat of his pants. Zhilei Zhang is a tremendous puncher. And with Deontay Wilder, people make out as though he's chinny. He took plenty of shots from Tyson Fury and he was knackered before going down, certainly in the third fight. He was down, obviously, in the second fight from a headshot and a body shot. I don't think Wilder's chin is as bad. Some people make it out as though like he's like David Price chin. I don't think he's that bad. But I don't think you can have a good chin and you can go in there with Zhilei Zhang. You're going to be in trouble. Joe Joyce has a good chin for a heavyweight. He's not, Triple G level chin, but it's a good chin. But goddamn, he was in. We saw what happened. Filip Hrgović, it's a testament to how good his whiskers are, because honestly, the shots he took off Zhilei Zhang, he never even seemed to be bothered by them. I know he was down, but that wasn't really a knockdown. Long-winded one, but what I'm saying is I'd favour Zhang against Deontay Wilder, long and the short of it. In terms of Zhang, or in terms of Hrgović Dubois, yeah, if you had said to me a few years ago that we're going to see that fight, I would have said, or even a year ago, I would have said, yeah, Hrgović will win that fight pretty easy. Yeah, I'd be favouring Hrgović. Now I don't really know. The one thing that I didn't think about, which kind of I spoke with Proper Boxing, when we went to the press conference, the kickoff press conference for this, and he touched on it, and it's actually something that I thought about then thereafter. I was like, made a very good point. Daniel Dubois is used to hitting guys and them getting hurt. If he's hitting Hrgović and Hrgović is staying there, how is Dubois going to react to that? That's going to be interesting. Daniel Dubois, a lot of confidence there. I like Daniel Dubois. I love the every baby's got a daddy. The man was so proud. It was like he rehearsed. The other one was like, I've done it. It doesn't matter. You're returning fire to me. It doesn't matter. I've said what I want to say, and that's what I want. It was brilliant. Honestly, that'll live long in the memory, seeing that. But I genuinely couldn't. That's a hard one. Who would you favour in that fight? Because it's a really tricky one. All four of these guys against Anthony Joshua, they're a great fight. They're a very good fight. I would say box office wise, Wilder would be the biggest one in terms of box office. Don't know if necessarily he'd be the biggest threat. Out of all of them, look, every one of them I would give a chance of beating Anthony Joshua. I'm not saying I would pick them, but out of all those fights, I wouldn't envision Joshua having an easy time with any of them. I'd pick him probably over all of them. But I wouldn't envision him going in there and just doing a demolition job. Certainly not. So there's that. Tyson Fury in the gym, 3 weeks out from Alexander Usyk. That was on April the 22nd. Michael Benson released that on his Twitter account, and that was from Tyson Fury's own. It looks to me like that's an old clip. I've seen people reacting to that. That to me just looks like an old clip, because I would have thought Fury would have been in Saudi Arabia by now. I would have thought. That looks like his gym in Morecambe. And yeah, that to me just looks like an old clip. So is that Tyson Fury just trying to, play mind games? Show Alexander Usyk, I look like this one minute, I look like this the next. What way are you going to get it? It just looks like an old clip. I wouldn't read too much into that. The clips he did where he was on the pads, I think with John, they were more legit. And yeah, he looked all right on the pads, but you could look all good on the pads. Anyone could look good on the pads or bag. Let's wait and see what happens on fight night. In terms of Fury Usyk, Anthony Joshua's predicted Alexander Usyk will beat Tyson Fury. He said, I fought Alexander Usyk so I can speak on what I experienced with him. He's a phenomenal fighter. I would say he's going to do a really good job. I never fought Fury, so I can't speak on what he's like to face. Only speaking of what I know, I would say Usyk will be victorious. And yes, Anthony Joshua is in a position, he's fought Usyk twice. I seen some absolute idiot, and I will call them that, they were an idiot, when I said Joshua went 24 rounds with Usyk, saying, oh, you can't go 24 rounds. Well, do your maths. You fight two 12-rounders. 12 plus 12, what's that? 24. Seriously. Like, honestly, seriously. Jesus Christ. In one sense, I'll miss these Fury fanboys if and when Fury retires, because some of them do just make me laugh. They really do. When you see it, you just scratch your head. You're like, is he trolling? Or is he for real? Yes, 12 plus 12 is 24. Two 12-rounders means he's gone 24 rounds. There you go. You learn something new every day. Should have been a teacher, shouldn't I? Should have been a maths teacher. But yeah, Joshua, in terms of picking Usyk, yeah, he's always shown a lot of respect for Usyk. Obviously, there was a lot of emotions in the ring after Joshua lost the rematch, and Joshua did apologise for that. Usyk forgave him. They seem to be getting on good terms now. And I always kind of say, like, with Joshua, to train as hard as he did, because again, some of his fans will make it out that, Joshua was... No, Joshua was in good shape. He did everything he needed to do for that fight. It wasn't enough. He gave everything, it wasn't enough. He was better in the rematch than he was first time around. It still wasn't enough to beat Alexander Usyk. To go through all that and to still not be good enough, it's like, that's got to be a bit of a you-know-what. And a lot of emotion was running high. I'm sure in that moment he was just like, F this, I'm going to just say what's on my mind. And that's what he did. Picking Usyk, again, I would have thought that he would have wanted Tyson Fury to win, because obviously he would want to be the guy to fight Tyson Fury. Obviously he knows that's a massive fight, but he's been 24 rounds with Alexander Usyk. I'm sure he knows damn well he's been beaten twice by Usyk, how good he is. On potentially fighting Deontay Wilder, he said, let's go 110%. I think that if he goes out there and looks good, that will kind of reignite the flame he had. Boxing is all about perception. You can look bad one fight, go out there next fight and look good, and everyone says, yeah, he's back. Whichever one his excellence wants, I'm ready. I would imagine Turki Al Sheikh is probably low-key hoping it is Deontay Wilder. Daniel Dubois could knock out Philip, I'm not saying he will, could knock out Filip Hrgovic in a couple of rounds, and Deontay Wilder could struggle a little bit, maybe have a tough enough fight with Zhilei Zhang but come out on top with a knockout. I would imagine Turki Al Sheikh will probably still do Deontay Wilder versus Joshua. I would imagine that would happen. I really would. This was a bit disappointing to read. Errol Spence, former trainer, so I think it was saying former, so I would imagine he has now parted companies with Derrick James, has now filed a lawsuit against him seeking damages he believes he is owed from the Terence Crawford fight. Yeah, I don't like seeing trainer and fighter, especially when they've had a good relationship in the past like those two have had, going down these roads. I'm not too sure the ins and outs. Did he not pay Derrick James the percentage that Derrick James has always been getting? Did they work out a new agreement moving forward? And, Errol Spence I'm only speculating. But it's disappointing to see that, because Derrick James did a good job with Errol Spence. He really did. He did a very good job with Errol Spence, and they always had a very, very good relationship. And it's disappointing to see a fighter and trainer who you look at on the surface and you think that they're good, they're good, and then you're going down the court road and this, that, and the third. You don't really want to be seeing that, to be honest with you. But that appears to be where we are with that. Isaac Chamberlain would challenge Mikhail Cieslak for the European title on the undercard of Dylan Smith versus Richard Riakporhe. I wouldn't be shocked if Chamberlain wins for him to face the winner of Dylan Smith versus Riakporhe, if I'm honest. That fight was announced during the week in Selhurst Park in South London in Crystal Palace's ground. Isaac Chamberlain vacated the British and Commonwealth. I think he definitely vacated the British title. I'm not sure about the Commonwealth. But he definitely vacated the British title rather than go through with his mandatory against Chef Clark, which is seemingly common for fighters. If they're not with boxer or associated with boxer, as Isaac Chamberlain is, to be doing these days. Now, with Adam Museum, I've already said it in a previous video, I went in hard on him and Ben Shalom on that one. Because you're good at these. Well, he's inexperienced. BS. You're experienced enough to fight for a European title, a full European title. You're experienced enough to defend it. End of. If Anthony Joshua, when he fought Charles Martin, immediately vacated that title, what the hell? Klitschko's your mandatory. Okay, well, I know he wasn't really mandatory, but you know what I mean. Klitschko for the vacant WBA title as well as being the IBF champion. Okay, you don't have to fight him. You can vacate it. Now I'm going to fight him. He fought. He knew, right, I'm a champion. I've got obligations as a champion. That's what I'm going to do. I might be inexperienced, but now I have to be experienced because I'm a champion. That's what they did. With Adam Azim, fight for an EBU title. You get a world ranking. Okay, now Dalton Smith, your mandatory. See you later. Okay, I will allow that if you're going to go and maybe move up the world level, look to get an eliminator. Who are you going to fight? Harlem Eubank. Get the F out of here. With Isaac Chamberlain, he's not done that. Mikhail Cieslak is a harder fight than Chev Clark, much harder. He's much more proven than Chev Clark, and it's for, some would say, the Lonsdale belt, and it is. It's a very prestigious title. It really is. The EBU title, you would argue, is probably not as prestigious as the Lonsdale belt. The Lonsdale belt's a brilliant title. It really is. It's such a prestigious belt, and people look at the British title. If that's your level, that's your world title. They take so much pride in being British champion. But the EBU title will get you a world ranking. It will. And if they want to put Chamberlain in with the winner of Bill Smith versus Riakporhe, well, there you go. He's going to be world ranked. Simple as that. So I let him away with that one. Different to the Adam Azim one. Let's have a look-see on boxing scene. Mebly? I always get that. Christian Mebly. I know he's the French fighter, French middleweight. Easy win for Canelo against Munguia. It's going to be an interesting fight, Canelo against Munguia. I will say for Canelo Munguia, 110% live watch-along is coming for that one. It's a bank holiday weekend, this coming weekend in Ireland. I haven't done a live watch-along since Joshua Ngannou, and I haven't done a stateside watch-along, oh God, in about 2 years. It's been a while. It's been a long time. I am keen to stay up for that fight. I'm keen to watch it. I will be staying up for it, and I might as well do a bit of commentary while we're doing it. So, yeah, 100% we'll do a live watch-along for Canelo versus Munguia. I think that fight's going to be electric. I really do. I think that fight is going to be an absolutely electric fight. Danny Dignam believes Denzel Bentley defeat would mean retirement. Danny Dignam, geez, that's a name that rings a bell. I haven't seen him fight in a while. He's fighting Bentley this coming next Saturday. He's fighting not this coming Saturday, next Saturday. Buddy McGurr. Dillian Whyte can still be a world champion. I disagree. Dillian Whyte, his best chance to be a world champion was probably 2018, 2019. If he'd have got a fight with Deontay Wilder then, I still wouldn't have picked him, but I would have given him a better chance than I would now, going in there with the likes of Usyk. Well, he's already lost to Tyson Fury, so I think Dillian Whyte, from what I've seen in his performance at Castlebar last month, he didn't look particularly good. I know, it was on short notice, yes, fair enough. But I didn't like what I was seeing. I don't think he has a lot to offer. I would imagine he has one eye on that Joshua versus whoever card come September, because he's obviously fought in Saudi Arabia before. It's obviously going to be in London, but he's a South Londoner, a Brixton man. He'll be looking to get on that show, on a fight on the undercard. And do you know what? I would imagine. Do you know what I would say, right? And just me thinking outside the box. Let's say Deontay Wilder beats Zhilei Zhang. There's no doubt in my mind that they'll do Wilder Joshua. And I would imagine what they'll do for the winner of Dubois versus Hrgovic is they probably give them, if they're good to go, a fight against someone like a Dillian Whyte on the undercard. Because at the end of the day, it's a big fight for Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte wants to get back in the winner's circle. He wants to get back into the big fights. It would be a reasonably big fight against, say Dubois beats Hrgovic. For Dubois, that's got to be, brilliant. If he becomes world champion, if the vacant IBF title is there, you're like, there you go, voluntary defence against Dillian Whyte, bag of money, and I'll knock him out in a couple of rounds. Because I think Dillian Whyte's there for the taking. He really, truly is. I really believe that. Frank Warren hopes true grit carries Daniel Dubois to a win over Filip Hrgovic. He'll need a bit more than true grit, but you never know. Filip Hrgovic, it's hard to know where he's at these days. It really is. Bernard Hopkins wants to see Jerome Ennis get pushed. So do I. I want to see him out as much as he can be. Love watching Jerome Boots Ennis. I really, really do. Is the August card in LA the best card ever? It's in the running. We've two cards this year that certainly for me are some of the best cards I've ever seen as a proper boxing fan. I wasn't I was obviously born in the 90s, but I wasn't watching boxing in the 1990s. So I never got a chance to experience live those Don King shows or anything like that. I was only a little boy. I think when Don King or when Mike Tyson fought Holyfield in the first fight, when was that? November 96, I would have been 3. So I would have just turned 3. So obviously wasn't watching it back then. In terms of cards, since I've been following the sport religiously, these are some of the best cards I've seen. They're incredible. They really, truly are. They're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. Is there much else there? Oh yeah, Jermaine Franklin. He was meant to be fighting September, yeah. Or sorry, May. I think he's fighting Devin Vargas, if I'm not mistaken. Devin Vargas. Jesus Christ. He'll beat him pretty easy. I mean, most heavyweights beat Devin Vargas pretty easy, to be honest with you, at this stage. If you're not beating Devin Vargas, I mean, sheesh. I don't even know what to say to that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much that. So yeah, that's review of the week in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button if you could. I always forget. I'll do my best. I will do it. I'll timestamp these. I always forget. So sometimes I just upload this in the morning and then it's like, oh crap, I forgot to list it. And you're like, boom, there you go. Now I'll upload this evening. It's what time now? 10 minutes past 9. So I'll probably upload this while I watch the darts, because the final of one of the European Tour finals is on tonight. So I'll watch that and I'll do the edit and upload this for tomorrow with timestamps. I hope you all have a great week. I hope you enjoy it. I hope the phone rings with good news for someone. As I always say, this week it's been last week was brilliant for me. Last week was a great week for me. Hopefully this week is going to be even better. Like I said, move is really starting to take shape. Everything's looking good. And yeah, watch the space. Whenever we do get the good date to go, I'll let you know. It'll probably be audios, as in only audio videos for maybe a week or two until I get the recording space set up and stuff like that. But yeah, it's exciting times ahead, lads. Exciting times ahead. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. Peace.